Introduction. Personality over bureaucracy. The paradox of college teaching in America. In a 1911 speech comparing American and German universities, Max Weber proclaimed that the differences came down to one thing: bureaucracy. That was hardly surprising, given the German sociologist's lifelong focus on bureaucratic formation as the key organizational feature of modernity. What was surprising, however, was Weber's observation that American universities were actually more bureaucratic than their German counterparts. Whereas young lecturers in Germany were paid only via the fees of students they attracted to their courses, assistant professors in the United States received an official appointment and a regular salary. German lecturers could remain in academic limbo indefinitely as they awaited a permanent position, whereas young American faculty members were subject to dismissal, the reverse side of bureaucratization, as Weber called it, after several years at their respective institutions. He expanded on this theme in a 1917 address published 2 years later as Science as a Vocation, perhaps his most famous treatise on academic life. German lecturers had a much lower teaching load than American junior professors, Weber wrote, but they also had to lure students to their classes, otherwise they had little chance of obtaining a full-time professorship, which Weber believed should reflect intellectual promise rather than classroom popularity. Attendance at lectures is quantitatively tangible evidence, whereas high quality in research is imponderable, he complained. If it is said that a Privatdozent lecturer is a poor teacher, it amounts almost to an academic death sentence, even though he be one of the foremost scholars in his field. All of this was anathema to Weber, who deplored the unfounded assumption that failure in the lecture hall ensured the same in the laboratory or the library. One can be very outstanding in research and atrocious as a teacher, he argued, citing the famed scholars, and famously bad teachers Helmholtz and Ranke as examples. Most of all, Weber questioned whether the number of students attending a lecture reflected the teacher's scholarly quality or potential. The fact that students flock to a teacher is determined in unbelievably large measure by purely superficial factors such as temperament and even tone of voice, he wrote. Democracy should be practiced where it is appropriate. Scientific training, however, implies the existence of a certain type of intellectual aristocracy. To be sure, research success also required a mysterious and unpredictable form of inspiration, as Weber admitted. But at least scholarly claims could be assessed and inevitably surpassed by successive generations of scholars. That was not the case for teaching, which always rested on highly personal factors. In the United States, Weber added, young professors had so many teaching duties that they had often little time for research. In Germany, by contrast, they had more time to write because there was less opportunity to teach. Yet both of them would ultimately be assessed based on whether they could pack the house with students.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?